And that's a little too much
the
research?
blockbuster.
In other words, some of these sites you have to go in and you're buying blind.
Right, you're going in blind, and I think the best way people hear about these websites is the best advertising is word of mouth. And if you don't know these people who know these websites, chances are you're not going to find all the good ones. There's probably a lot of good ones that me and Dustin might not know about.
Especially documentaries.
Right.
There's so many great documentaries being made, and the Coolidge here and a lot of the independent theaters show these great documentaries, but not as many as they could. Because there's so many stories out there to be told, and those I know can be found online legally.
Where? Tell us.
Yeah, I'd like to know.
But maybe the next episode we'll say what those are, because there's lists of them. We probably should list what they are that I can't remember.
Even places, again, I'd bring up Comcast On Demand. Like, documentaries are really hard to find on there as well. They don't really have a section for documentaries. The only section I can think of is HBO.
HBO documentary.
HBO has a section entirely devoted to documentaries, and usually the most I've seen on there is 10 or 11 at a time.
Sad.
Okay, so have I missed anything? Are there any places, any ways that you're watching movies that you haven't?
Another cool new way that people are watching their movies is actually from video game systems, like the Xbox 360. You can download a application where you can download Netflix movies, but they have it only. I mean, that's through your Xbox. You only have access to. What were you saying, Sarah? You were saying, watch now. Watch instantly. So it limits you.
Smaller library.
Yeah, it's a much smaller library. You can't get everything that you can through the mail.
Yeah. What about smaller things that aren't films? I mean, if we're talking about the moving image in general, short films, episodic films, situation comedies, ComedyOrDie.com, you know, these things. Do you guys watch that stuff?
Television shows, there's a great website called Hulu.com.
Yeah.
It's being advertised on TV.
On the Super Bowl.
Yeah, yep.
Endlessly, yeah.
And you all know Alec Baldwin is now an alien. Websites like that are really great because.
But once again, they're still giving you that. They're still giving you the popular. The Family Guy and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Okay. Like it's still
only
one of those
shows that are actually on TV.
The first 2 seasons of a show.
Right, it's hard to find the.
So you can.
Shows one of the only ones that updates regularly.
But what about things that are created for those websites? Comedy or Die has episodes. Do you watch Comedy or Die?
No, I'm not familiar with.
I'm not familiar with this.
Funny or Die. I'm sorry, Funny or Die.
I'm not familiar.
Why does that sound really familiar now?
Yeah.
It's Will Ferrell.
It's Will Ferrell's site.
Oh yeah,
It has specific episodes to watch online. The question is, will that model begin to be television?
I think. I don't know if it'll necessarily begin to be television or just stay the way it is online.
But so far, you guys aren't in there.
Well, I've watched a few shows like that on there, and they've been really good. But once again, it's still using celebrities that were from big movies. You know what I mean? Like Michael Cera, Will Ferrell, and all these big people doing these episodic stuff online is more interesting, and it's free. But at the same time, you're still
watching those mainstream.
Yeah, you're still watching.
This leads me to think of Jack Valenti, who used to be the head of the Motion Picture Association, went to MIT and begged the MIT students to stop pirating. And they came in dressed as pirates, of course. And he goes, boy, I'm in trouble now. And then somebody asked the question, Jack Valenti, what happens if people keep pirating, keep changing the way that they consume, and Hollywood disappears? And his answer was, that could never happen. We could have the biggest stars, the best productions, the greatest special effects, and the audience, which was multinational, just started laughing out loud. Because what would happen if Hollywood disappeared? I'm not sure.
We would have to create a new sort of form of Hollywood.
And that's what I'm trying to ask about. Is there another stream that's happening underneath that could bubble up outside the PR mainstream?
I think
not that those movies aren't great, and not that all those actors deserve every dollar they get.
Definitely.
If we continue on this interview without mentioning YouTube, we can consider ourselves pitiful, because on YouTube, there's people gaining popular demand just on YouTube, and people are becoming stars just on YouTube. And even documentaries such as Loose Change, I'm sure most of us have seen Loose Change, which is the controversial, anti-Bush. It was all the presidential
Documentary.
houses documentary that the 9/11 was the president's fault, and then there's other stars, like there's this whole section, David Blaine, the magician.
Yeah.
There's a parody of David Blaine, and there's like multiple episodes of this.
Yeah. And then there's just the whole Obama girl and, you know, all of that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And
So I guess the bigger question, to sort of to close this up a little bit, is that what will happen with the tools back in the hands of the peasants, as they say? You know, will things get better, or will the way it's consumed and created, is it already starting to change?
It's definitely changing, but I definitely feel like it's in that like, 'cause you go on YouTube and you can see a lot of interesting things, but with every interesting thing that there is, there's 15 other things that are a waste of your time and a waste of your youth, of whatever you're doing. It's just it's almost like people are experimenting with what people want on YouTube, you know what I mean? And like you're saying, it is going to change into something. It is going to turn into something else. It's just a matter of...
And even with all the streaming sites that there might be and all the ways there are to deliver, we still need filters. And we need somebody to explain the filters to us.
Exactly, yeah.
Because you just don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and YouTube just removed the whole filter thing.
They sort of just diminished that whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, you guys. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No
Thank
problem.
you, Tim.
All right.
Thank you.
I will see you behind the screen at the Coolidge Corner Theater.